Going on, Jerome. So even though the Minnesota Vikings had a lot of turnover and change this offseason, notably signing several high-profile key free agents as well as sexy-ass time draft class, including quarterback of the future and talisman on the edge, there's still a handful of Vikings veterans that I'm not ready to give up on. So that's the whole thing too. Especially a lot of the guys that is going to be on our list are guys that have couple years of experience, maybe even year 2. And I get it. We live in a microwave society. We want it now. We're like Veruca Salt. Daddy, I want it now. But some of these guys do need some time to develop. And it is written in the new CBA that players are allowed to improve, which is great, man. So, like Quasi, I'm not ready to give them up. Not ready to let them down. So here, 8 Vikings not quite ready to give up on. So number 1, yes. So Jaren Hall. Now, am I holding out any illusions that he's going to be the quarterback of the future? No. Right. And the whole thing about it is, hey, 5th round pick. And I know people are calling it, oh, Jaren Hall is a bust. How can you be a bust when you're a 5th round pick? I feel like the line of demarcation for a bust is you have to be 1st round pick. I mean, I feel like that's pretty easy peasy, right? But Jaren Hall, a.k.a. the Mormon Missile, yes, he's old. Yes, he's slightly younger than Sam Darnold, and yeah, you do have J.J. McCarthy in as a quarterback of the future. You did sign up Sam Darnold. Nick Mullins has shown that he can operate the offense with aplomb, and Jaren Hall, if they keep 3 quarterbacks, he could be the odd man out. But as we've seen last year, quarterback depth is important, and with 16 practice squad spots, hell, keep 4 quarterbacks. Who cares? And with Hall. Like, again, am I under any illusion that he's going to beat out J.J. McCarthy and be that guy? No. But did he show well in his second drive against the Falcons? Yes. And frankly, I mean, starting him against the Packers, I know all of us fans wanted it, but he was put in a bad situation. And also, if you're just going to give him the hook at halftime, why even put him out there? I don't get it, man. And I know that Jaren Hall's Viking career could come down to that one duck throw that he had, but it happens, man. But Jaren Hall, I do like his headiness. I do like his high football IQ. I do like his competitiveness. I do like his arm overall. And I think that could he develop into J.J. McCarthy's long-term backup? Yes. And I think as a 5th round pick, that's huge. That's monstrous value moving forward. Next up, number 2, Kene Nwangwu. That's right. So the Vikings, even though they did sign up Aaron Jones, they let go of Madison. I think one of the reasons why the Vikings weren't really active in free agency or the draft or undrafted free agents at running back because maybe they see more of a role for Kene Nwangwu this offseason or this upcoming season. And also with the new kickoff rules, I think that his value is going to go through the roof because he does have a career 27.6 yards per kick return, which is the most in the league during his 3 seasons in, 3 touchdowns as well. But also, he hasn't really gotten the time of day as a running back. And this also goes back to his time at Iowa State, where he was never the lead dog in the backfield. He was a good special teamer and got some carries here or there, but he was always behind Breece Hall, always behind David Montgomery. What's up, Sylvie? And is he going to be an all-around starting and running back? Probably not. Only has 27 career carries for 88 yards, 3.3 yards per carry, which is not. Got a water bottle on it, which is not good. But he does have that home run threat ability, and I think could he get a couple scattered offensive snaps? Sure. I think he certainly could. Next up, number 3, wide receiver Trishton Jackson. So I like the new Jack. So he's only 26 years young, the pride of Syracuse and Michigan State, 6'1", a $191. Also, so he was formerly number 9, and he had to switch to number 8 because J.J. McCarthy came in. So date with an 8. Now, 80 career snaps, only 2 catches for 9 yards, but did have that 2-point conversion against the Falcons last year from Josh Dobbs. And I just feel like he's always the guy that's extremely well liked in the wide receiver room. He's easy to root for, and I feel like in camp and preseason, he's a guy that you always see doing well with the 2s and 3s. Now, with the Vikings not adding a clear-cut wide receiver 3 in free agency, although they did bring back Brandon Powell or in the draft, I mean, there's an opportunity there. And I think that all the receiver spots behind Jefferson and Addison are up for grabs. I think T-Jack could find himself getting one of those. Next up, as a coffin die. Another wide receiver, Jalen Speedy Nailor. Now, I understand. Nailor's had health issues. Yes, but 12 catches for 208 and 1 touchdown on 19 targets throughout his career. He had that touchdown against the Packers, which is great. And like we said, I mean, everything beyond Jefferson and Addison is wide open, pun intended. And it could be, indeed, Speedy Nailor. And remember, last year, he was the cat's ass with OTAs and mandatory minicamp because he was getting all of those reps because JJ wasn't there during the voluntary portion of OTAs. Also, KJ was dinged up, so... Addison was dinged up. KJ was the other starting receiver. So Jalen Nailor, he was looking really damn good. And then Nailor got hurt on the first freaking day of training camp, which was, I think it was like a non-contact day too. And so all the work that he had put in during the offseason sort of went down the drain and never really, got any traction again. But now I think that since the Vikings wide receiver situation is very fluid beyond 1 and 2. Maybe he could get back into that derby. It's obvious that Kevin O'Connell and the coaching staff hold him in high esteem. Next up, number 5, defensive tackle Jaquelin Roy. Now, Jaquelin Roy's interesting because coming out of LSU back in the day, Jaquelin Roy Kent. Now he's the guy that scouting reports. Strong upper body, needs to develop a little bit more on the lower body, needs to add a little bit more strength. But 5th-round pick last year, it didn't really get a ton of run last season. Ended up playing only 96 defensive snaps, did put up 8 tackles, but he is 6'4", he is 297. And the fact that the Vikings, they had interest in Christian Wilkins, sure, but the fact that they didn't go hard into paint at defensive tackle in free agency or the draft could be a sign that they're really looking forward to what Jaquelin Roy can bring. Because if you look, I mean, besides Levi Drake Rodriguez in the 7th round, which he's a huge project, I mean, they didn't really bring in anyone who's going to blow up a gap. And Jaquelin Roy could play that 3-tech, could play that pass rushing nose tackle as well. So I'm pretty bullish on him in year 2. I think he's going to be a significant contributor on the defense. Next up, number 6, Brian Asamoah. So Asamoah, back in the day, coming out of Oklahoma, flying around, making some big-time plays. Made a couple plays as a rookie. Had that forced fumble scoop against the Giants in the first game. And injuries kind of put him behind the 8 ball. And yes, with the rise of Ivan Pace Jr., with the signing of Blake Cashman outside, how about that? With the signing of Kamu Grugier-Hill. I mean, Asamoah may be sort of on the fringe of the roster at this point, especially when you count guys like Dallas Gant, who's coming in as a premium UDFA. I mean, it could be a bit of a struggle, but I believe in his athleticism. I believe his versatility and flexibility would make him an asset for Flores. And also, when he's healthy, can be a plus special teamer. So I'm not quite ready to give up on the pride of Oklahoma quite yet. Next up, number 7, Andre Carr II. So Andre Carr II, I mean, he got a sizable UDFA chunk last year guaranteed coming out of Army. Now, he was seen as a guy before his senior season in 2022 as a guy who could be a day 2 pick, maybe even might push his way into day 1. There's some people who thought that could be, but sort of dinged up, didn't have a great senior year at West Point, and he ended up being undrafted. And there's a myriad of reasons that went into that, but also the fact that he didn't really get a ton of run last year, wasn't really overly impressive, but he was a UDFA rookie who was taking what he could get, right? But of course, even though the Vikings lost to Neil Hunter and DJ Wanham, they did sign Jonathan Grenard, Andrew Van Ginkel, they drafted Dallas Turner, and also bring in other stud edge rushers as UDFA's Gabe Murphy, Bo Richter, Owen Porter, etc. I mean, Carter, you can never have enough dudes who can set the edge and get after the quarterback's ass, and Carter certainly can do that. But also, he's a guy that he needs time to develop his NFL body, right? So going from an Army cadet, you have to have specific physical parameters that you have to be within. And so Carter building up an NFL body, that's going to take a little bit of time. And maybe that's one of the reasons why he went undrafted. But still 14.5 sacks as a junior in 2021 and 6'7", 256, has rare size, has rare capabilities. And he's a guy that's going to be interesting in the next couple of years. Lastly, number 8. Yes. So it was a toss-up between Booth and Evans, but the fact that Evans has been on the field, shown that he could play some good ball, I'm leaning towards Evans. Now, Evans is probably best suited as a zone corner, and Flores has talked about wanting to play more man, so maybe that makes more sense with Boo Jr. But Evans, yes, last year was not good. A 52.5 PFF coverage grade, allowed 104.4 quarterback rating, 48, 550, 594, as well as 3 touchdowns on 69 targets in coverage last year, which is not nice. Which is not nice. And yes, famously was benched 7 different times throughout the season by Flores. And even though the Vikings, got themselves some corners. I mean, signing Shaq Griffin, which might have cost them a 3rd-round comp pick, who knows, but also Kyrie Jackson, the 4th round, which was the same round that Evans was drafted in back in the day in 2022. And also Dwight McGlothern, I think is going to be super feisty as a UDFA coming out of Arkansas. Probably shouldn't have been undrafted, but I think Evans, given the fact that he has started, given the fact that he does have the experience, given the fact that he is absolutely tenacious when it comes to tackling, I think that could give him a bit of a boost. And even though I think Blackman starts, I think Murph is going to be in the slot. I think Griffin is probably penciled in as the other starter. I like the challenge. And also, I love that the Vikings have legitimate depth at corner for the first time in seemingly forever. So competition brings out the best in everyone, so we'll go from there. But that's it. That's at 8. Ocho Vikings. I'm not ready to give up on us. Not quite yet. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.